Hello, Asker, and welcome to my presentation of Indian camp. In my disposition, I will just talk about the presentation of my task. First of all, I will go through a summary, and after that, I will go in depth with the analyze, and I will mostly here focus on the characterization and the theme. Last of all, I'm gonna perspectivate to A Farewell to Arms, and I'm gonna quickly talk about his writing style. So let's start. So in terms of the summary, I have divided it in three parts. So it's rowing to the camp and dealing with the labor and rowing back. So rowing to the camp, we're told that we are three persons in the boats, or the three main persons. The Indian persons actually row the boat, so they are not as important. But we are Uncle George, and we are Nick and Nick's father. And Nick's father is the doctor, and Nick is the child. And Uncle George is a very mysterious man, so we're not told about him. In terms of the second part, it's dealing with the labor. So these three persons arrive to a woman that is in labor, and here we see that Nick's father is trying to help the woman, and he's operating her. And while he does that, Nick is very disturbed by the fact that he's actually witnessing this, and he just looks at it and tries to look away. A man also commits suicide, and I probably think that the man that commits suicide is doing it by the fact that it's of course not his child, said in text, and I also think that Uncle George is actually the real father of this child. The last part, rowing back, when they row back, Nick is very curious, and he has a lot of questions in terms of the things that he has been witnessing at the Indian camp. And here we see the father figure in Nick's father, and he answers all these questions in a kind of laid back way, and he tries a bit to calm down Nick. Let's go to the analyze section, and let's start off with the characterization of Nick. I wrote that Nick is young, and we for instance see that in this quote: "Do ladies always have such a hard time having babies?" Nick asked. "No, that was very, very exceptional. Why did he kill himself, Daddy?" Of course, this is also based upon his curiosity. Like when you're a child, there's not a lot of knowledge in your mind, so you're very curious. And in this quote, we also see that he calls him Daddy, and that is very childish, not to call him father or something like that. The second thing I wrote about him is that he's scared. So I found this quote: "Nick didn't look at it." "Now," his father said, "there are some stitches to put in. You can watch this or not, Nick, just as you like. I'm going to sew up the incision I made." Nick did not watch. His curiosity had been gone for a long time. So we see that he's very scared, and it's also based upon that he's very young, and he's at the same time very curious right here, because he wants to look at it, but he's also very scared because it's the first time he has been witnessing a thing like this. He tries to learn something, but he's really not able to learn that much because he's too scared. Then we have Nick's father. Nick's father is very loving person and a very loving father. We see that in this quote: Nick lay back with the father's arm around him. So this is at the start where they row in the boat and it's very dark, and we hear about a mist around the boat and they cannot see a lot. So in this quote, he tries to comfort his child. So yeah, he's also a very masculine father figure. We see that in this quote. No, I haven't any anesthetic, his father said, but her screams are not important. I don't hear them because they are not important. And also in this quote, I know, said Nick. You don't know, said his father. Listen to me. What she is going through is called labor. So we can, based upon these quotes, we can say that he tries to be a very masculine father figure because he's not willing to show any signs of weaknesses. So he's almost like in a robotic way trying to get through these things, and he is also capable of it and like dealing with all these things. But he tries to teach Nick about all these things and how to react, and yeah. Then we have George, and he's a very mysterious person in the novel. And I have this quote. Uncle George was smoking a cigar in the dark. The young Indian pulled the boat way up on the beach. Uncle George gave both the Indians cigars. So I actually choose this quote because I think that it's kind of shown that he's actually the father of the child, because it has been a tradition in Europe and also in the US that the father actually gives out cigars to the people, and I think that is also a very good clue of it in this quote, that he's actually a father, even though it's not necessarily said in the novel. So we can also say that he's very rude. We hear that in this quote. She bit Uncle George on the arm, and Uncle George said, "Damn, squaw bitch." So we can tell that he's very impolite and he's not very gentle, and we can also maybe tell that the woman was being raped by George because she bit him. So yeah, we can imagine. And in terms of the theme, I wrote father and son and reality of life. So I think this is maybe the two themes that are going around in the novel. So as I said before, father and son, because of the fact that he's actually teaching his son a lot of things, and his son has a lot of curiosity towards all the things that he does in the operation during the labor. And also wrote reality of life because I think that he tries to show the real world to his son, and also think that this is a very typical way of Hemingway's writing style, to keep it real. For instance, like we hear in A Farewell to Arms, where he also participated in the war, and he made in this novel he made his readers kind of witness all the things that he has been witnessing in the war. So kind of like watching everything from his perspective. He keeps it he keeps it very real, and I think that these are two very comparable novels because of the fact that it's just like in a very real stage, if you can say that. And yeah, it's one of the characteristics of his writing style that he's not trying to cover anything, and everything you get is more real rather than magical. So that was everything I had for you, Asker. I hope you have a very nice day, and maybe drink a cup of coffee or something like that, maybe a bag of sour cream and onion chips or something. But see you, Asker.